601. 601. Little late, almost there, but made it. So wanted to do another live that was religion and spirituality because last week was good. Last week was good. And we stayed on topic the whole time. So I was like, why not do another week of religion and spirituality? So that's what we're doing. All right. I already got one audience member here, or participant, whatever whatever you guys are, viewers. Well, PBS viewers like you. That's how it goes. Yeah. So here we go. Just getting some stuff ready, notes or whatever. I should do this before I start, but I really like to start at 6 o'clock. So you guys are just seeing me do stuff. All right. Now, hopefully this audio doesn't change when I do this, but let me know if it does. Check 1, 2. All right. Well, yo, Jess, what's going on? Is the audio still good? Can you hear me? Well, can you hear me all right? Getting all set up. Check. Good audio. Cool. All right. Dope. Yo. All right. Awesome. Here we go. All right. All set up. It's slipping. What's slipping? The audio is slipping? I hope not. If the audio goes, yeah, hopefully the audio is not going out. Skipping. Oh. Dang. Shouldn't be skipping. The connection, I know the connection to my computer is good. Check 1, 2, check. Yeah, I mean, though it could be my Wi-Fi, so ask anyone else. All right. Well, anyway, yeah, like I said, last week was great. We stayed on topic the entire time. So I figured why not do the same thing this week and see how that goes. Of course, it could always be a crash and burn sort of situation to where don't do 2 topics in a row, but we're doing 2 topics in a row. So religion versus spirituality. I guess I will wait for some more people to get on. Vinyl? I'm going to say vinyl. Your connection is unstable. Dang. Please wait while we try reconnecting. All right, so I guess my connection is a little unstable, which kind of blows. And Mark, what's going on, man? How you doing today? And Jess, what's going on, guys? I could just start ranting about, because I've actually been thinking about this ever since the past live that we did, religion versus spirituality. So I could rant, but I won't do that quite yet. How are you feeling? I am feeling okay. I'm feeling okay. Eric, what's going on, man? Glad to see you here. Stutz. Hey, what's up? Yeah, I'm feeling all right. That's it's just been a normal day. I mean, little tired, but better than usual. So that's good. Great subject. Yes, it is a great subject. It's a subject that it's a subject that I never thought about until I started being super skeptical and I guess more agnostic, skeptically agnostic towards religion, and then looking at spirituality and, oh, wait, there is a difference here. Yeah. Sigh. Does it stand for something, or is that your name? Sigh. I like it. I'm ready for your YouTube live, though it's 1 a.m. Dude, I love that you are ready for the YouTube live, even at 1 a.m. That's what's up. Well, just to let you know, so for the 6 people that are watching, part of the reason why I haven't been putting out vlogs like this, filming myself, and they've just been like snippets of these live chats, is because I'm upping my patron rewards. Gonna have a book club, gonna have a Discord, gonna have a community, gonna have more live chats, weekly exclusive live chats, and I have a podcast that is coming out next week. There'll be 5 episodes available. So I've been working on a lot of different things. Um, so it's all good stuff. It's all coming at you guys this next week. So Nate, I've started going to the gym Monday through Friday at 5 a.m. I'm dead. Dude, I wish I could. Well, you know what? I could do that. But it wouldn't be great for my body right now. So just been working out my usual 3 times a week, which is okay. And with my diet, I'm doing fine. But I wish I could work out every single day at 5 a.m. That'd be dope. So where it might, you're dead, man. I wish I could be in your shoes to do that. Simona, thanks. Oh, very cool. I like Simona. That's a good name. I think spirituality can be for anyone, and unfortunately, religion puts people in these little boxes. Yeah, it puts people in these little boxes that are. Religion is basically this little box, this packaged little box that people say, here's how this looks, and it's supposed to be good for you in your life, but it actually just completely imprisons you. And what I appreciate about spirituality is it's not this packaged little gift that says, here's exactly how it looks for every single person. It's like, it's so diverse. It's so, here's the basics. Here's, practices such as like meditation or yoga or lucid dreaming or projection, astral projection, whatever. And now it's like, discover what is beyond this. Now, of course, that gets into a whole bunch of other topics that I won't go into, but spirituality is very raw, very real, and I say real I'll say real with quotations, because I have yet to experience any of that myself. But I also think that is the difference between religion and spirituality, is that religion wants you to really be like, here's what I heard somebody experienced, and so that makes it real. So you need to believe this too. Whereas spirituality would say, I have not had this revelation myself. This understanding has not come to me myself. So why would I believe that? I still have reason to be skeptical and to doubt and to do all that. So yeah, religion it doesn't just put people in boxes. Religion is given to people as this supposed gift that is really nicely packaged, but it ends up in the end, it's not a gift at all. It binds you. You're a prisoner to it. And spirituality does the opposite of that. There's so many more benefits to spirituality. Just like you said, I think spirituality can be for anyone. Yeah, and I mean that's what they say about religion. This religion is for everyone, but that's getting into like, okay, this religion is for everyone, so everyone needs to follow this religion, and that also gets into a different topic. Another video that I made talking about how on the spectrum of spirituality and on the spectrum of even religion, or there's truth throughout all of it. And I'm not looking to be any sort of religion or even spiritual. I'm searching for what is truth, and that looks messy, and that religion doesn't like that, and why puts it in that nice little box. And so, spirituality searching is raw, real. Looking for truth is raw. It's it doesn't look good sometimes, but religion wants to put you in a box so that it says, well, this is what's safe, this will look good. And so completely agree with what you're saying, Jess, of course. And yeah, just completely agree with that. What's the podcast called? The Philosophical Misfit Podcast. I know. Couldn't get any more uh that's it's just simple, right? What denomination of Christian were you? Non-denom, which is basically a denomination in itself. I just need to fit more sleep. Not good for my insomnia. Yeah. At the gym, 5 don't do good. Feel that. Feel that, man. Real as in the personality trait, not real as in not imaginary. Yeah, exactly. If you imagine religion, if you imagine a tribe somewhere that has never experienced the world and thinks they're the only ones, and they see a helicopter fly over, they would probably think that was God or aliens and so on. Yeah. Probably, I'm watching Apple Plus just came out, and that show C with Jason Momoa. Everybody's blind, and so when they find a weapon, when they find something that's pre-made, or when they even feel like a building or a structure, they call it God bone. And it's like the gods made this, but the reality is they just can't see, so they don't know what it actually is, and that they made it. I really believe in our ancient history. That's what happened when primitive people, not primitive like Neanderthals, but primitive in their actual knowledge of humanity. And so they got it wrong. It could be the case. Dang. So did you read the whole Bible yet? I can't even count how many times I've read the New Testament. Very, very familiar with the New Testament. Very familiar with the first 10 books of the Old Testament, most of the poetry books, Psalms, Proverbs, um, and I've gone here and there in the Old Testament, but I've actually never all the way through read the Bible. I skipped around a lot, but I've done it with the New Testament several times. Did Jesus read the Bible? No. What do you mean no? Yes, he did read the Bible. If he didn't, how did he know? How did he know the scriptures to quote in the New Testament? Because he quoted Old Testament scriptures in the New Testament. So yes, Jesus read the Bible. KLO522. I guess I haven't said hi to you yet. So what's up? Oh wait, Pedro, what's going on, man? I think I read your comment, but I didn't say hey. Torah, the book of Moses. Okay. The Torah is a part of the Bible. So, Nate, here's a random question of the day. What'd you eat today? It's funny you ask this because normally the answer would be chicken salad. It's literally chicken salad every day with fruit, vegetables, nuts. I'm a no gluten, no dairy, just for like healing my body with Lyme disease and things like that, and just health stuff. But I got pretty sick of it, and so I made shepherd's pie 2 days ago, and I have been eating it almost every meal since. I made enough for leftovers, so I had shepherd's pie twice today, with a small salad. But shepherd's pie, good stuff. Brady Kelly, what's going on? Shepherd's pie is so good. It's so good. First time I ever made it. My mom was supervising, but I did the work. Bible, 66 books, only 22 are the New Testament. I know this. What are you getting at? Send me some. Yeah, sure. Just put it right in the mail and ship it off. Delectable. is like the word that comes to mind. Jesus did not read the New Testament. Yeah, of course he didn't read the New Testament. What are you like trying to say to me? Are you trying to prove something? I'm agreeing, except for the first statement that you said Jesus didn't read the Bible. I'm saying the Torah, the books of Moses, are a part of the Bible, but no, he did not read the New Testament. He is the New Testament. Yeah, Jesus is the New Testament, bro. That's what I'm saying. Oh man. I'm sure reading the Bible would change everything. What about intuition when something inside of you just knows something is wrong? What do you mean by that? I'm sure reading the Bible would change everything. I mean, yeah. What about intuition? Are you asking would it change intuition? Have you ever listened to Dolores Canyon talking about Jesus and what she learned through past life regressions, and if Guru did what are your thoughts on it? I don't know who that is. But I'm interested. Well, has she written a book, a famous book? What book would that be, out of curiosity? Because I think I've heard of that. I haven't looked into it, but I'm pretty sure I've heard of it. Jesus never told us to read the New Testament or the Torah. I mean, you're not wrong. Paul did. Paul told us to in the New Testament, but Jesus had teachings. But yeah, it was really the New Testament writings that made it an indoctrination. But I don't think Jesus' intent was ever supposed to be that. The Old Testament is so long, I don't think nearly as many people have read the whole Old Testament as people claim. I've made it to Psalms and I'm like stuck. Now I can't go any further. Yeah, the Old Testament is it's so difficult. I tried so many times. I've read Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. I think I got up to Judges, which isn't even that far in. And I was like, man, this is painful. Like I don't think I got to any of the good stuff as people told me. I was referencing them pointing out that you hadn't read the Bible. Gotcha. It seems they were insinuating somehow that if you read all of it, you would change your mind. Yeah, that's not the case though. I don't know what I believe, but I wish I could believe in God. I am spiritual, and I do believe there's life after death. So, agnostic, I guess. Jesse Crooks. Hello, welcome to chat. Jesus is a Catholic name. Okay. I don't think that's true. Yeah, I mean Jesus is a Americanized name of what Jesus's real name was. Um, I don't know what I believe, but I wish I could believe it. Wish I could believe in God. I am spiritual and do believe in an afterlife. Well, that's huh. I guess I'm not going to put you in a box. I'll leave that up to you. But I guess that's more agnostic and but life after death. I mean, it's kind of along the lines of like Robert Monroe. He believes in life after death. Well, no, I guess he did believe in a God. Um, I like Dolores Cannon. In fact, she was probably one of the first people that got me into all things spirituality. She doesn't touch on a lot of spirituality things, just open the doors for learning. Nate, do you believe in coincidences? Okay. Nate, do you believe in coincidences, or do you think everything happens no matter how small? This is an exaggeration, but my lucky number is 3, and I constantly check my phone and it happens to be 333. Um, yeah, I don't know what to do about I don't know what to do about that. For me, I guess my lucky number, or just ever since I've been on this journey of doubt and stuff, twos. For me, for you, it's 333. For me, it's twos. It's 22222. Like every the numbers 22 pop up everywhere. And it gets into numerology, and which I looked into and studied, but it's also like spiritually looking at numbers. It's all a matter of what the numbers actually mean to you. But that the numbers lining up, it could be coincidence, it could just be you just looking at the clock. But I don't know what to do about it. For me, I kind of look at it as like a compass, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I think I'm on the right path. Super weird. It's a gut feeling. I don't know if it is coincidence or what. But I have the same thing happen to me. And when I see the numbers, I'm just like, I guess I don't know why. I just feel like I guess I'm in the right place. No clue why. Absolutely no idea why. But I have that same thing happen to me. And what my dad's actually preached on that before, numbers lining up. And he says it means that you're in alignment, uh, that you are in uh, body, mind, soul, health, all that. You are in alignment. And so, that might be the case. But yeah. My question to you is, do you think God will understand why it's hard for some people to believe and let them into heaven if there is? That's a fantastic question. That's a question that I think I've addressed it before. I don't think I've addressed it in that angle. But do you think God will understand why it's hard for some people to believe? Uh, yes, honestly. And because I think when you actually look at what belief is, well, I guess my definition of belief and what I have come to understand is actual belief, and not just like a secondhand revelation that says, oh, this happened, so this must be real, so believe it. It's like, no, that's not what belief is. Belief comes when you have a firsthand revelation experience that really completely changes you. And if you were to turn away from that, then you would be turning away from yourself. You would be a hypocrite. You would be a coward. And so I think that to not believe, like, I mean, you're basically talking about the situation that I'm in. Like, for people, okay, will God understand why it's hard for some people, why it's hard for some people to believe? I think, like, hmm, I'm trying to, okay. Okay. Lost my train of thought here. But I'm gonna give this another shot. I lost my train of thought, so I'm just gonna start over. So, because I keep having to read the question and it keeps screwing with me. I understand what you're asking though. So my question to you is, do you think God will understand why it's hard for some people to believe and let them into heaven if there is? I would say that yes, he would understand why it's hard for people to believe, based on my understanding of what I have come to think, believe, what belief is. And it's not like I was saying, it's not that like secondhand revelation, secondhand experience, and then someone saying, oh, just believe it. Here you go, believe it. It's actually having that firsthand revelation and experience. And I think it's okay, and I'm speaking for myself, it's okay to be at a place where you're so like skeptical, doubtful of who he is, of who he says he is, his existence, and all of that, because you want truth. Like, I don't think you believing in something, but believing or saying you believe in something, that it's actually you don't have a belief in it, but it's just a secondhand revelation. I don't think that that's it's not belief, but there's no foundation in that at all. There's no foundation for living in that. And if you really believe something, like I said before, you would be a hypocrite and a coward to turn away from it. So I do think God understands why people don't believe, and it's hard for them to believe, because it's actually people are searching for that truth, and some people don't know how, and they have to figure out how, and it's where do I even look, who do I listen to, what do I mean, there's so many routes, avenues, and the reality is it's not, God doesn't show up on people's doorsteps every day all the time. Like, he doesn't present himself in the flesh, in person, and people would argue, well, that was Jesus, and it's like, was it? I don't know. I wasn't there. Who knows? Like, even if Jesus was a historical person that was on the earth, that still doesn't say, yes, he was absolutely the Son of God. He was absolutely Jesus Christ, the Son of God that paid for the sins of, the gospel story. Um, but I do think because of people authentically searching out God, searching for truth, if they are looking for truth, I don't see why God wouldn't let them into said heaven, because he says, okay, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. This gets into the whole concept of salvation. He says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. Anyone who comes, you have to go through me to get to the Father, i.e. heaven. So if he is the way, the truth, and the life, if he is the truth and people are adamantly in search for what is true, then they're pursuing him. And if you're pursuing him, then wouldn't you technically be in relationship with truth? Because truth is a journey. Truth isn't just like hearing some knowledge and some information and then, you saying, well, I believe it. It's more than that. It really is. I mean, belief is more than that. There is more weight to that. When people throw around, like I just did a video about this today, people throw around the whole thing of, well, I have a relationship with God. And it's really turned into like a dogma inside of religion, instead of, no, I actually have a relationship with God. And I think it's the same thing with belief. Like, people say, well, yeah, sure, I believe in God, but actually, do you believe in God? Because if you really believed in God, like, I've seen people flip flop like that. Like, when they're happy in life, they believe in God, and then when something bad happens, they don't believe in God. I'm like, you probably never believed in God in the first place. So all that to say, to answer your question, yes, I do think God would understand, because I think God understands the journey and pursuit of truth. And if they are authentically, sincerely, genuinely seeking for that truth, and they don't find it by the time that they die, and there is a heaven and there is a hell, I don't see why God would turn them away. So, hope that answers your question. That was a long, drawn out answer, but maybe that answers it. So, there you go. Oh, man. I enjoyed the Torah. Fucking love Judges. I honestly enjoyed Job. I really enjoyed Job. I like that book a lot. I'm trying to get the Prophet books. Heard they're pretty trippy. That's one way to look at it. I'm leaning towards we've all lived every kind of life possible, just waiting for science to catch up. My boyfriend, oh my God. Hello, sir. How can you serve a master if you don't even know the name of the master? Are you getting at God? Or is that like a God question? Like I'm saying, are you serving the master? How can you serve a master, i.e., God, if you don't even know the name of the master, i.e., God? Or are you saying something totally different? I tuned out. Yep, that's a good belief. Nice. Serious question though. Do you think Logan Paul is going to beat? Oh my God. I don't know. I don't know. I watched a couple of his fight videos. I wasn't like overly impressed, but whenever I start seeing coincidental numbers, I just observe what's happening in the moment every time it pops up. The only question I have, so to speak, is why, if God was angered enough to make a punishment, why didn't he just erase us from existence? Or vice versa, if he wanted to forgive, why didn't he just do it? Well, he kind of did erase us from existence with the whole flood, um, except Noah and his family. And vice versa, if he just wanted to forgive, why didn't he just do it? Well, that I guess that was the point of the cross, from what I understand. But I mean, that's the biblical narrative, but I understand your question, and I don't know if I really have an answer for it because it's a good question. So I mean, I consider myself a Christian. However, I am in constant search for truth. A thousand questions and sometimes an answer creates more questions. Totally, man. That's the name of the game. That's what I love about philosophy. Some people hate it because it's a rabbit hole, but I'm like, I'm always crawling in that rabbit hole. It's good stuff. I just want to say, though, I've had some really crazy experiences that could easily be interpreted as God. And the further I go down my spirituality path, the less I attribute those things to God. What do you, out of curiosity, what do you attribute them to? Just you, your spirituality, spiritual path? Jesus is the son of a alien master. Oh, okay. Did you Is that like a thing or did you make that up? Why did Gabriel say to call the boy Jesus? Who you trust, Gabriel or humans? That's a great question. Uh, what? As a reference word to Yeshua because people were getting killed if they got caught with letters or writings with Yeshua on it. Where do you find this stuff? This is interesting. How to put God first in your life. How is it for you? Easy or difficult? How to put God first in your life? I mean, it's pretty hard to put something first when you don't actually believe in it. I mean, that was part of my spiritual awakening or just the doubting and the agnostic starting and skeptical, all of that. It was like I realized that God was never actually first in my life because I didn't actually believe in him. I just believed in what I was told, which is an actual belief. And so for me, yeah, it was difficult. And I think honestly, this I know that this is a big statement, but I really do believe it to be true. Is that I think a lot of Christians or religious people have difficulty in life, not because they don't believe that in God or that God can take care of them or whatever, but they actually don't believe it. They actually don't believe it, but they're telling themselves that they do. If you actually believe something, you would have no. It would be easy to act on that belief. But I see a lot of, and I'm speaking for myself as well. I see a lot of Christians, a lot of people who really struggle with things where it's like, Well, if you actually believed in God, I don't think you would struggle with that as hard as you're struggling with it. And I think that if you just admitted to yourself that you don't actually believe and you're more skeptical than what you realize and you actually doubt more than you realize, then I think that those things would start to work themselves out. And I think that you would start to be on a real journey of self discovery instead of really, and you know, if you don't understand this term, then that's fine. But like scapegoating um, onto said religion. And so, yeah, I think if God's real and people do genuinely believe in him and have had a very personal experience with him, I don't think it'd be hard to put God first. But for the people who find it really difficult, I question whether they actually believe or not. And that's like an indicator for me. When I see somebody struggling, now don't get me wrong, there's faith and there's belief. And you can believe and be on a journey of faith that's not easy, that's difficult. I get that. They interchange, they interchange, intertwine with one another. Um, but belief in something, if you believe it, then it's not going to be as difficult as you're making it out to be. And there's so many situations that I've seen where it's like that, where I'm like, that's just an indicator for me. I'm like, maybe you don't actually believe. Have you ever thought about that? But they're so set, indoctrinated in their mindset. They're like, oh yeah, I believe. And I'm like, I don't know about that. So that's my answer. For me, it was not easy because I didn't actually believe in God. So, will you ever talk about alien and conspiracy theories? That'd be cool if you did. Uh, Maybe. I guess. Well, actually, yeah. Next week. It depends on how you interpret the. I've just finished all three of Robert Monroe's out of body experience books, so I'm going to be reviewing them and talking about them next week. Do you think the Joker in The Dark Knight was right in the fact that if society broke down, people would be animals raping and pillaging the weak? Or do you think Joker's philosophy is wrong and that humanity is in its nature not animalistic, but more helpful and good, even if there was a lawless, broken down, Wild West type society? I would say the latter. I think the Joker philosophy in that sense is wrong, and that humanity is actually, in its nature, not animalistic and more helpful and good, even if there was a lawless, broken down, Wild West type of society. I really do. I really do think that. I don't think if there was no laws, if there was no government that existed, I don't think we would go back to being animals. I just think, yeah, I think that's not giving humanity the credit that it deserves. And which is why I have a huge problem with Christians saying, at our core, we're not good. At our core, we're not, we're very sinful. And I'm like, that's what? Like, if God created us and he said it is good, why are you downgrading it? Why are you just chalking us up to be wretched human beings that are sinners? And I'm like, what? No, like, people are good in our essence. It's just that we were born into a world where our first instinct is survival, and so we have to learn how to survive. And but we have to learn how to survive. But our consciousness has evolved to a point where it's no longer like it's just different now. Like, we don't necessarily have to worry about surviving. It's coming to a point of like learning how to love. um there's more in that, and that has to do with a lot of the philosophy I got out of Robert Monroe books on journeys out of the body, because he talks about the earth life system and how scientifically the nature of the time and space earth life system is fundamentally and scientifically different than our human nature, which was very interesting, and he had some really great points. Just wanted to say I appreciate you here with us today, Nate. Thank you. Really appreciate that, Simona. Hi, everybody. My farts. Oh my God. And I just remembered I was going to ask you if you've seen a video called What Lies Behind the Moral Law by C.S. Lewis. I have not. I've seen the C.S. Lewis doodle things, but I haven't seen that one. Huh. Do you think a world without faith would be better? We wouldn't be able to just rely on what other people said, not without any actual proof anyway. See, but I see a point to faith. I see a point to faith. I don't think faith I think faith doesn't have to be applied to spirituality. I think the essence of faith can be used in relationships and everyday life. I think you can use it to spirituality, but I don't think science would come up with any sort of proof if that scientist did not have faith that this could in fact exist. So it's actually the faith that's in us that helps us look for that proof. If that faith wasn't a thing, if it didn't exist, then nobody would even look for it. Where exactly does your belief in God come from, or my disbelief? I don't believe in God, so there's that. And I'm skipping down. What are your thoughts on addictions? That's actually a great question. My thoughts on addictions are my same thoughts, along the same thoughts with like there's counterfeits in humans. There's counterfeits in humanity. And I think people that struggle with depression, it's a counterfeit because they actually have a gift of meditation and contemplation. And I think that people that struggle with like suicidal thoughts, I think that it's a counterfeit because they actually have a gift or a desire to be a martyr, to fight for something good, to fight for, to want to die for something that they really, really believe strongly in. And I think it's the same type of thing with addictions. I don't think addictions are necessarily a bad thing. I think even part of the human brain, and I don't know the neuroscience or science behind this, but this is just my philosophy and my thoughts on this, and just I guess where my head's at is that I find that addictions aren't like being addicted to like living a healthy lifestyle. It's not a bad thing. Being addicted to want to be kind and love people is not a bad thing. Being addicted to better people or bettering yourself in order to better other people, it's not a bad thing. It's like, now there's, I guess there can be two ways that you think about addiction. The way that I'm talking about addiction is like I need this. I can't get enough of this because this is fantastic. Okay, it says my connection is unstable. Please wait while we're reconnecting. Okay, I think we're good. But there's two types of, like I'm saying, there's two I guess types of addictions that I'm talking about. The type of addiction that I'm referring to is like an addiction that it's like I need this because like I feel better with this, or it- well, let me say the negative. The addictions to where like I cannot live without this, and since I can't live without it, I will do anything to get it. There's that, and then there's actually like a healthier addiction to the type of thing that I was talking about. That's just my thoughts on that, and I don't have a more cohesive way of talking about those two sides of addiction or types of addiction. But I do think that um, addictions don't have to be unhealthy. It's just a matter of where your head is at and what those addictions are, because some of them, they're not bad for you. Like, of course, everything in moderation, but you know, there's not a problem with being addicted to being kind and loving people. It's like there's not a problem with that. Now, some people wouldn't even call that an addiction, but again, it's how you think about it. Because is it? Is it not? So I think it's actually, an addiction is a counterfeit to something else. Maybe it's addiction in the bad sense, as a counterfeit to man. And there's a word there that I can't think of right now. Maybe you guys can let me know in the comments. Um, but I think it's a counterfeit to something else that is actually in our human nature, that's good. So that's what I think. Jeremy Smith, what's up, man? Where did I go? I totally lost my place in the. Okay, here we go. Uh, God is the God of light and darkness, good and evil. Don't not agree with that. More secular societies have lower crime. Someone told me Allah stands for Arma. Luli! Hi! I just escaped a family reunion and just wanted to drop by and say hi. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well as well, Luli. Glad to see you here. Does it say those words really? I don't know. The Old Testament in particular grotesque even the belief in hell and eternal suffering. Yes. Yeah. No. Jews don't believe in well, traditional Jews don't believe in hell. Yeah, I think Christopher Nolan agreed with you, director of Dark Knight film. Yeah, of course, I know Christopher Nolan, man. Come on, because when Joker put it to the test with two boats telling the boat to blow each other up to save self, they both didn't push the button. Yep. Hello, Simba. That was a movie, not real. How can you put your faith in a movie script? But in real life, I don't know, man. I think if terrorists did that Joker test on two boats, testing humanity, I think one of them would push the button with one boat being upper class citizens and other boat being inmates. Ah, man. Yeah, I guess we'll never know because I don't really think that that would happen. It could, it very well could happen. Well, I guess it's really not foolproof. You know, human beings aren't foolproof, right? So, yeah. I'm pretty sure they've tried to push the button and they disarm. Exactly. My girlfriend is addicted to what? Oh my God. I learned something about creativity at school yesterday that was so great. I'm going to share it with you. Please do. Paige, what's going on? Call me pessimistic, but in that case, I think the button would be pushed in less than a minute. Where's my boy Sloshy? Yeah, for real. Where is he? I'm going to drop questions in like 5 minutes. Dope. What do you think about contemplation and its relation to prayer? That's a fantastic question. That's a question that's like a more mystic kind of question. Really, when I think about, and I would put meditation in there as contemplation. What do you think about contemplation and its relation to prayer? I don't think there's really a difference, honestly. I think when people think prayer in a more religious kind of mindset, then they think Heavenly Father or Dear God, you know, thank you for this day, you know, all the cliche beginnings of prayers. Um, but contemplation, I think a prayer could be just as um, meaningful, you know, because okay, so if God's real, he doesn't speak English, he doesn't speak Spanish, German, Chinese, he didn't, you know, he doesn't speak any sort of language. You know, as I've been reading these, well, I finished the Robert Monroe books on out of body experiences. Everybody outside of the body talks in, he says, NVC, nonverbal communication. And so I don't think there isn't this language, right? You know, obviously we translate into words. We translate, you know, our thoughts into words, but in another realm, apparently that's not the case. And so I think actually contemplation as like thinking on thoughts and like what the mystics did was they used mantras, they used scripture verses, and they said it over and over and over and over and over again, not just with their mouths, but in their heads. And they dwelled on that and they'd stayed present in the moment with that. And that's how they had these intensely spiritual experiences, because it was in deep meditation and contemplation. And that was their time in prayer. They didn't just like, even Jesus talked about like, don't use repetitive words, as even telling the Pharisees, don't just speak all these repetitive words. That's not actually having relationship with me. That's not actually, praying. That's just you repeating something over and over and over again that you don't actually mean. Um, but I think like mantras and like contemplation and meditation, yes, it's repeating this word and phrase, but like when you're in a prayer in a religious sense, you just kind of like, okay, yep, here, this, that. Contemplation and meditation, you're actually like fully focused, present in the moment, like acknowledging, and even brother Lawrence, he's a mystic. He has a book called Practicing the Presence of God, which is constantly being aware of the presence of God in your every single waking moment. And so, and he claims to have crazy experiences out of that. And so I think actually contemplation and meditation is a lot more powerful than said prayers, but I would also call them prayers, because, I mean, what's the actual definition of what prayer is? I think communion, relationship with God, in a theological Christian sense. And so, what does that look like? I don't think it has to look like a outright language, linguistic prayer. I think that being present in the moment, meditating, practicing the presence, as Brother Lawrence would call it, is actually a more profound way to, I don't know if getting you closer to God, which I don't think is, if God's real, there's no such thing as getting closer or more of God, um, because he says he lives inside of us. But that's a whole different other discussion. So yeah, contemplation and relationship to prayer, I think they're the same thing. I think prayer, contemplation, meditation, I think they're all the same thing. It's just a matter of how you actually think about it. So, oh boy, Sloshy, he is here. That's a very interesting and nice perspective on addictions. Kind of in a way, sounds like the way to flip a bad addiction is to get addicted to a good one. That's what I would say. Kendrick Jean, what's going on? It's really depending on the individual beyond the, not a murder, but you never know when you have to defend yourself to think someone who killed survives. But you never know when you have to defend yourself. Do you think someone who killed to survive or had to protect loved ones will go to hell? No. Or would God understand? You did what you had to do. Yeah. I don't think you would go to hell. I think you do what you had to do. That's the short answer. But yeah, I don't think you would go to hell. I'm saying the short answer because I'm trying to get to all these other comments. It's God name. Is God the name we give to ego, ergo ourselves, and is the closest you can get to God's self divinity, as Socrates would agree. Uh, and they killed him for it. Well, they killed Socrates because Socrates believed in one God. He didn't believe in. He didn't believe that you were God. Did you listen to the trash instrumental I put on Spotify? I did not. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark. Yeah, no, I didn't. I'm more into contemplation. The other day at camp, I told a teenager that for me, staring at the ocean is my way of connecting spiritually, and he couldn't believe it. What I was saying, I was not saying Heavenly Father. Yeah, so outside of the paradigm of religion. What makes you happy? Music and acting. Acting makes me really like acting, film, acting and film makes me very, very brings me to life. I like your way of viewing it. Why is a murderer with clown makeup one of the most critical characters in superhero films ever? It's a great question. Yeah, very ironic. Someone like a clown can be so philosophically deep. I think that was the intention of the character, or of creating the character. I like it. What do you think about experiencing God through communion? Some people, some religious people get really um, serious about communion. Um, but theologically speaking, communion is a lot more symbolic. It's not literal. It can be it is symbolic. There's some denominations that's like you need to take communion every Sunday or you're going to hell. It's like, okay. Experiencing God through communion, it depends on the communion. Honestly, I mean, you could you could argue theologically that communion is you connecting with God. Or you could point to the Last Supper and say it's bread and wine. I don't think that has to be the case. I don't think that is the case. Um, but so if communion meaning spiritually working on your relationship with God, uh, then then you are experiencing God through communion. You are communing with Him. So now, you ever finish a workout and look at your veins and be like, "Holy shit!" I can't say that I don't do that. I don't do it all the time, but I have done it. Um, yeah, done it. So is God a all-loving? So if God is God, if God, so is God a all-loving God if He sends His children who may have been misguided to burn for eternity, or even though who simply doesn't have enough evidence to believe in Him to burn with them all the same? Um, so is God a all-loving God if He sends His children who may have been misguided to burn for eternity, or even those who simply doesn't have enough evidence to believe in Him to burn with them all the same? No, He wouldn't be a loving God. But that gets into the theology of hell. See, here's the thing um, that I've noticed. Most atheists, when they talk about, well, if God is a loving God, why would He send people to hell to burn for all eternity? And that's this and that. Theologically, man, I question if hell even exists in the Bible. Like it, yeah, like a more universalist kind of theology where it's everyone is going to heaven. Um, I mean, yeah, no, He wouldn't be a loving God if that was the case. And that's why you have to ask those questions and look at those things theologically. But theologically, when you start to look at what the Bible says about hell, you start to realize like hell might not exist. Because yeah, a loving God wouldn't do that. So that's that's what I think. Since you love acting, have you ever considered doing sketches in your channel? Well, I have. um, like 2 years ago when I started this channel, I did a short film. It was like the second video I ever uploaded. It's called Crippling Fear. Um, and it's a real conversation I had with a friend on my phone, and it came out as a monologue. And as soon as I did it, um, I wrote it down and I practiced it as a monologue, and then filmed a little short film. Only short film I've ever done. It's not that great. Um, my performance is not that great, but I just needed to do something. I was like, I need to do something. So I made I did the film. It's not even like all of it isn't that great. I was still figuring out what I was doing with my camera even. But I had fun doing it. And I do little sketches. Like when I did the Obi-Wan Kenobi sketch, I mean, they're more like comedy sketches. But I would love to do more like actual sketches like that, or just do monologues or make little short films like I did with that Crippling Fear thing. It's a lot of work, and I need to put out consistent content. So maybe once I make enough money with YouTube, whenever that'll be, and I can hire an editor to edit my videos full time, then I'll be able to do that kind of thing. But right now, that is not the case. If God is real and there is a hell and I go there just because I don't believe in something with the lack of, I don't know, evidence, then fuck it. I'll be okay with it. I'd rather live by evidence rather than fear. I don't disagree with you at all. Yeah, I'd rather live by evidence than fear any day. But I think there's still a purpose in an for me at least, for seeking and for searching, because if God is real, if He is truth, then I do want to know that truth. Um, so yeah, I haven't come to that conclusion yet. To everybody who believes or knows about faith, do you think God has a direct effect on our thoughts, or makes we think do some things, even if it's extremely infrequently? I don't think we. I don't. I mean, I don't know. I can't say I really know that for a fact. I guess I'm not the right person to ask that, but I would say I don't know. It's very easy to say yes, based off confirmation bias, and the placebo effect, obviously. But is that actually the case? We don't know. There is no hell. The flame is the fuel. The devil's in the details. Metaphors are metaphors, no matter when it was written. No. Did you listen to Kanye all gospel album named Jesus is King? Would love to hear your thoughts on it. Yeah. So me and my dad are going to do a full album reaction next week. And I will be reacting to it because I haven't listened to the full thing. I've listened to a couple songs and I'm about to go off because I have a lot of problems with it. And I'll just say that right now. And so you might hear a rant by me on the Pastors React channel. Um, so I will review it. I've listened to a couple songs, and yeah, but we're gonna review the full album on the Pastor React channel. So skits. Oh, true, true. Oh, I meant community, not communion. Oh, like I meant the social aspect. Experiencing God through community. That I don't know. I mean, it's a possibility. And these are questions where I don't know, and I'm not gonna claim to know or even know what I'm talking about in it, because it's like somebody could show me this is like a terrible metaphor, but like a small little piece of wood, and say that this is from a tree. And just to imagine, I've never seen a tree in my entire life. I'm like, nah, I don't know if a tree actually exists. Nah, it's just a piece of wood, whatever. Um, and so, experiencing God through community, um, that to me, it's like a little piece of wood. I'm like, I don't know. Like, I mean, possibly, but I don't know if I mean, by what people say, I don't know. But if I have experienced and seen, I don't know how you can experience a tree, but if I have seen a tree and I know that, oh, this is where those little tiny pieces of wood come from, then I would say yes, that you can experience God in community. But I don't know, I mean, you can look at these little pieces of wood all day and just be like, oh yeah, this is God. And it's like, do we know? We don't. So, um, but it's a possibility. Can't wait, man. I'll have it on my calendar. Gonna be a must-watch reaction. I hope so. Yeah. Yeah. No, it will be because I'm fed up. Dude, that I'm serious, man. Kanye's album coming out was like, I don't know why. It was just kind of like the last straw for me in this like really just ah the whole Christian music thing, man. It's just yeah. If Satan is real and he is to blame for this mess, then would hell be still immoral depending on how hard, easy it is to get in? Hell be still immoral depending on how hard, easy it is to get in? Um, would hell still be immoral? What do you mean? I would assume so. I love the Pastor React videos. Also, really enjoying this live. Well, sweet. Appreciate it, man. What about the God is all know what about the God is all knowing paradox? Like if he knew Adam and Eve would eat apple, why would he still punish them after they ate? And don't you cop out using time isn't linear argument, I know you. um no, I honestly I don't know how time isn't linear argument would even apply to that question. Um, I mean, yes, like you're saying, what about the God all-knowing paradox? Like, if he knew Adam and Eve would eat the apple, why would he still punish them after they ate it? Um, Here's the thing. I think, well, okay, if that story is real, if God is real, if that is all true, then I think that humanity. All right. There's actually I have a lot to say about this, so I'm gonna try to pack it into a nice cohesive thought. I don't know if I'll really be able to, but I'm gonna give it my best shot. So I think that the things that if there is life after death, the things that you will take with you are the lessons that you learn, are the experiences that you have. Um, And you can't learn those lessons or have those experiences if everything is all perfect all the time. And in the Garden of Eden, not even, in the Garden of Eden, it was like, I mean, God even said it was very good. I mean, there's not a whole lot of um, developing consciousness and evolving as human beings, whether walking with God or not. Um, there's not a whole lot of that if you're just living in a completely perfect environment. You're not going to, develop yourself, learn these lessons, have these experiences that you'll be able to take with you, if the afterlife is real, in the afterlife, when you die. And so I think God, obviously, I think God, if that story's real, knew about it, because he wanted humanity to evolve. I mean, you have to, in order to have experience, you have to have opposites. You have to have good. You have to have bad. You have to have good, evil, joy, pain. You have to have these different aspects, and there has to be these choices that you have in order for an experience to happen, for a lesson to be learned. And I think it's those things, those gifts that make a person who they're meant to be, who they're going to be. And so I you know, I don't know if God, obviously I'm not going to claim to know. I don't know if God like intentionally meant for that to happen. I mean, I think if God, like, yeah, I mean, here's where I'll say, time isn't linear. I think there was obviously a choice that they could have made. They could have made the choice not to eat it. Not to eat the apple, the forbidden fruit, knowledge of good and evil, tree of knowledge of good and evil, all that. Or they could have made a decision to. I think God knew both situations. I think he knew both outcomes. And so I think that but I do think that there was always a plan for the outcome that happened, which was eating of the forbidden fruit and all that kind of jazz. Because I do think that we would not be able to evolve as we have been without that taking place. Um, and so, I do think that, okay, knew Adam and Eve would eat the apple, still punish them afterwards. Um, there's a really good sermon, talk, whatever, preach, whatever. By It's the guy who wrote The Shack. Um, Paul, dang it, I forget his name, but he talked about the story of the fall in Genesis and how it's very interesting because it doesn't really, the punishment is interesting. And I don't know if the punishment needed to be set in place so that we could evolve as we evolved, and by the way, this is all just speculation. I don't know. Um, but yeah, I do think that if God is real, if that story is true, then obviously he had a point to it and he had a purpose to it. And I think that point and purpose was to have humans evolve, to have consciousness evolve, to have us gain new experience. And that can't happen without bad taking place. You have to, like, to have an experience of true joy, you have to know what sorrow is. To know, eternal bliss, you have to know eternal bliss and freedom. You have to know what it's like to be caged and punished. And that's just looking at the law of polarity. And so that's a philosophy, self-made philosophy. That, when I think about it, that's what I think. If that story is real, if that is true. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but that's what I think could have possibly been the case. Damn it. Have you listened to music group Demon Hunter? Yeah, I'm not really a fan. Okay, so if Satan was the only one to be sentenced to hell, would it still be immoral? I don't understand the question. So if Satan was the only one to be sentenced to hell, would it still be immoral? Would what be immoral? Would hell be immoral? Would the place itself be immoral? I mean, I guess. I don't know. What about Satan and the fallen angels? What about few humans like Hitler, Napoleon, Stalin? You could ask the question. There's a hidden question in here of, do we still have free will after we die? And I am under the assumption, from all the reading, studying that I've done, that if an afterlife exists, that we do have free will after we die. And that goes for humans and angels, because we know angels have free will because they chose to rebel. Um, we are all chasing the light, mate, looking everywhere to find it, everywhere but within. It's true. I had this thought the other day. God said in the Bible, I created man in my image. So wouldn't that mean to know God more? It would take us actually knowing who we are truly, ourselves. That if we look at ourselves in depth and who we are, then we would find God. We're looking out, I'm speaking for myself, looking out into the universe and into the stars, but maybe we should be looking inside. Adam and Eve is an allegory about education and how people learn. That's why we give apples to teachers. The fruit, the serpent, and the devil are just metaphors for temptation and recovery. Ah, that's interesting. I've never heard that's the reason we give apple to teachers, but interesting theory. Gotta go, Nate. Gonna babysit. Catch you next time. All right, Eric. Peace out. So if you believe that there needs to be opposites like pain and pleasure, why would hell be immoral once we've ascended into a more intensive dimensional hell heaven? I'm saying hell. So if hell isn't immoral or isn't a place where the immoral go, then it's not hell. Then hell doesn't exist. That's why I'm not understanding your question. Pain and pleasure, hell would be immoral once you've ascended. Yeah, I guess it wouldn't be immoral, but that would mean it's not hell? I don't know. It's an interesting question, but it's a confusing one too. Yeah, you answered it. Did I answer it, or did I just come up with a bullshit response? You can't feel the bliss without horror. It's true. I'm still here, by the way. Just don't feel good. I was wondering where you went, Jess. So thanks for checking in. Yes. So you probably know this, but in the creative process, you need to take a break from the trail of thought or unanswered answers or questions. And that period of just not focusing on that unanswered question. Oh, nice thought. Love that, Nate. What thought was that? I'm confused. So you probably know this, but in the creative process, you need to take a break from the trial of thoughts and unanswered questions. This is true. In that period of not focusing on that, I don't know. Oh, continued. Allows you to later start finding answers and probably experience new things. You're right. You're right. I agree with you. You need to take a break. That's what I try. I've been trying to take more breaks, people. I've been going hard in the paint, managing this channel, Passive React channel. Have my own studio, which my website's finally done. So that's dope. Check it out. Nationshavenrs.com. It's my studio channel. So any of you guys out there need studio work done, music made for you, I'm your guy. So I noticed you usually have an answer for paradoxes like all-knowing and the all-powerful with all-powerful. You said, why would God need to lift a rock he can't lift? So is there any paradox you do believe? A paradox I do love seeing you break. A paradox I do love seeing you break down how the paradox isn't as unanswerable as we think it is. But like, what if it's unmovable object versus unstoppable force? All right. So the thing with paradoxes that I find, I think life and love are paradoxes. So paradoxes, I know it's a philosophical question. It's a philosophical fallacy, even. But when I really look at some of the things in my life, and I actually made a podcast about this. By the way, for the people who didn't hear at the beginning, making a Discord channel for community people to hang out, doing another live chat where people can phone me and call in and we can personally talk, and also a book club, and I've made a podcast. So those are all things I've worked on that are coming out within the next 2 weeks, probably next week. But I talked about this in one of my podcasts, that I've felt these really paradoxical feelings in life, but they really wrap up the essence of what life is. And so it's interesting to me that paradoxes are fallacy, but when you really think about life, um, really just life, that it's a paradox. I mean, um, it does not make sense, and it's very counterintuitive for somebody to die to self when our first human instinct is to survive. But in order to be selfless, instead of selfish, it requires you to die to self. It requires you um, to die to fear, to die to anger, to die to that ego thing, right? But it's in our human nature to want to survive. So why are we dying to ourselves to want to be kind, be loving, be caring? I think this is the reason why love and sacrifice is even a paradox. And I think there's some of the most beautiful aspects in life, but they're paradoxes. When you really think about them, parts of them are fallacy. They don't make any sense. Um, so I think that I'm able to hear paradoxes. Yeah, I think this is why I like picking paradoxes apart, and why I philosophically I think about them differently. Because when I hear a paradox, I always think about how life actually works and how it's played out. Because typically in paradoxes, we examine them and think about them in a very specific way, but we never actually apply them to how we actually live life. But once those paradoxes are applied to how we actually live life, but that's not a paradox, but it is a paradox. It's not a paradox because it's actually how we live and it's actually how life is supposed to be. But it is a paradox because when we philosophically look at just this small area of life, it doesn't make sense. And so I look at life in a very broad and open spectrum, um, generally speaking, when I look at specifics, because I can get so caught up on specifics. And I think that's how paradoxes are made, philosophically speaking. And so when I think of a very wide and general, like full life, like look at life overall, then paradoxes aren't paradoxes. They make sense. They look like life. So I guess that's why I do that. That's why I think about paradoxes in the way that I think about them. If I go to hell trying hard to survive, I'm fight God. No. Oh wow! Congrats for the website. Well, thank you. I think you need to rest your wise brain. Yes, yes. And honestly, Luli, this is why I've been doing a lot more of these, picking apart these live chats and making live clips, because to me, I feel like I'm really good at answering questions just on the fly. I'm really good at public speaking on the fly. I'm really good at just going, like, studying really hard at certain things in life, and then when asked about them, speaking my thoughts and elaborating on them. I'm really good at that. That's why I feel like I'm really good at podcasting and just like talking on the fly. And so when I do these live sessions, like yes, it takes energy, but it's a lot more easy for me than like a vlog where like, I put my phone up here and press record and I have like an outline. That takes way more thought, way more energy. So that's why I've been doing this a lot more. Wait, I'm confused. Are you saying that if God created hell, it would be immoral? No. If that's so, why would you say any punishment would be immoral? Do you to do it? Yo, I am trying to understand what you're saying, but I really don't. I think we're on like two different pages. I'm saying if God created hell, what do you mean it would be immoral? Like, are you saying the immoral people would go there? Hell is a I don't think I think if hell is a place, it's not a matter of moral or immoral. It's a place. Like, is my house moral or immoral? No, it's a place. So that's where I'm like disconnecting. Yeah, I feel like you're referring to hell as like a being, but I'm looking at it as a place. Unified theory of God, a modern meta take on how to beat the game and reach nirvana. Interesting. Life is honestly pretty paradoxical. That is true. Did I miss it? No. We got about a half hour left, Shells. Welcome. I agree with that. I'm back trying to get home before I miss the whole thing. Well, I'm glad you're here, Sloshy. Caleb. I feel like this is a topic I can speak on. You resting. I can totally agree about getting stuck learning and sharing so much that it takes the fun out of the experience. Yeah. Um, I mean, oh yes, Jess, I really agree. So what? Okay, all right, ladies, what do you propose me do? Because I want to keep making content. How do you think I should rest my little noggin? Uh, I'm curious. I'm not just. I'm honestly asking. Uh, okay, I misheard something you said way back. Got it. Dot dot. Do I? Well, I feel that I missed out on the whole conversation. Nah, I don't think so. What do you feel like you missed out on? Do you think that we live in a simulation? Man, I get this question all the time. Do I think that we live in a simulation? Man, my opinion is kind of changing around that. And my opinion is changing based on these books that I just read on out of body experiences. Um, at the end of the trilogy, the ending conclusion is that yes, this is all a simulation, and there's a purpose to the simulation, and the simulation is run by God. I've I don't know. But after reading those books and looking at life, a simulation with a point to it makes some sense. But we could be living in a simulation. It's a possibility. I'm not one of those like people that it's like, yeah, totally, we're living in a simulation. I don't know. But I can tell you that the logic, the philosophy behind it, uh, in Robert Monroe's books on out of body experiences, it makes sense. I'm back, although not for long. Little cousin fell asleep. Well, sweet. At least I got you for a little bit more. You doing this is way more authentic. Okay, boy. What? Yes, it is authentic. It is a lot more authentic for sure. Okay, boy. I'm very confused, Lily. The worst punishment hell possible would be to have to repeat a life and be aware of it. Have you seen the show Lucifer? That's what they put as hell. I think I think you're doing it already. You are unknowingly gaining inspiration from speaking to us on these topics. Also, it lets you know what topics would be beneficial to us if you did make a series. This is this is exactly why I do this. Outline my book for me? What? The simulation with a point, it resonates with me. Resonates with you how? Out of body experiences is a crazy topic, honestly. And I am going to make separate videos, not on live, about out of body experiences. I read all 3 books by Robert Monroe, which are the classic books on out of body experiences, and I have a lot of thoughts on them. A lot. And so I'm going to review those books, and it's going to be I'm excited to share the thoughts I have with you all about them. Oh, you said ladies and I said funny. So, okay, got it. So I said boy. Well, women. Should I have said women? I don't know. Where'd Simba go? Simba, you still with us? Curious what you think about my whole paradoxical monologue. Yeah. Here he is. Nice. If we were to live in a simulation with a God seeing it all, could we make an argument so strong that would change this God so she would affect person specifically? That What would that argument be, Paige? What would you want to change his mind on? I think we're in a library. God's trying to up is up, so we can talk to him outside the book. They call me crazy. Us. Trying to up us up so we can talk to him outside the book. That's interesting. We're in a library. Huh. What do you think about time travel? We already have time travel in the future with astronauts. They will be older than us on Earth because time slows for them. So do you think we will be able to travel past? I wonder if that's your only message or if there's more. Was that your only comment, or is there more that you're typing? To travel in the past? Is that what you're trying to say? That's all. Okay. What do you think about time travel? We already have time travel to the future with astronauts. They will be older than us on Earth because time slows for them. So do you think we will be able to travel past or in the past? You know, it's a funny thing, time travel, because I think we time travel every single day with our emotions, with our thoughts, with our feelings. We either dwell in the future or we dwell in the past. And this is why I appreciate meditation so much, because it is focusing on being in the future. Um, it's debatable when you look at quantum entanglement and quantum physics, whether, if our consciousness is energy and we are able to, in prayer is a form of quantum entanglement, or the science of prayer is quantum entanglement. I do think that, if we would come in touch with the moment, right? And be in touch with ourselves, our being, our mind, our consciousness, so much that we would have control over things like quantum entanglement. I think it would be possible to travel wherever we wanted. And I'm just basing this on the science of quantum entanglement, because there's so many things that could possibly be explained with quantum entanglement. And when I look at meditation and especially the things that I was just talking about, how we constantly time travel with our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions, we're constantly dwelling on the past, dwelling on the future, and we never actually just rest being in the present. For me personally, as someone who meditates every single day, I say that, and then I didn't meditate yesterday, but mostly every single day, as someone who meditates every single day and practices mindfulness and being in the moment, the more connected I feel with doing that, with practicing being in the moment, the more connected I feel with myself and the awareness of my environment. And since doing that, lucid dreaming for me has picked up quite a bit. And so there's even I received these emails from this lucid dreaming website that I signed up for emails for. They had like a course on lucid dreaming. It's good stuff. World of lucid dreaming. But I get these emails, and one of the emails was talking about quantum consciousness. That science says that our consciousness might actually be connected to on a quantum level, the particles, the elements, like in quantum entanglement. And so I do think that with the science of it, looking at quantum consciousness and quantum entanglement, that there is a possibility. I don't know if physically traveling in time, but I think that if our consciousness is able to be anywhere, is able to leave our body, having out of body experiences. I've seen videos on people equating consciousness to the soul or to the spirit or whatever. But I do think that if quantum consciousness, quantum entanglement, I, I think that as I practice meditation, and this is just my opinion, maybe this is science, I don't know. I haven't actually looked into it that much, this specific thing that much. But I do think that the more somebody were to come in touch with themselves, I do think that it would be possible to enter into those realms of consciousness where you would be able to travel in time. Really weird, really trippy, but those are my thoughts. Whether that's reality and that's the case, I'm waiting to experience it myself. But I do think that there is a possibility of it, even looking at the science of it. Sup, man? Oh, backwards panda. What's going on? DM did it. I did watch this one DMT report. You saw the simulation. I'll send you the link. Yes, send me the link because his interpretation would touch on some of the things that would break anyone out of the norm. I am going to check out C.S. Lewis doodle videos. I'm fine with ladies. Well, I'm glad. Cool. Like if a person ends up with a very Okay, so that reminds me, and I have a question for anyone. In a relationship, do you have a preference of what you're called? Me like old lady. It's not a rule or anything, I just like it. You like being called old lady? That's pretty cool. What's up, idiots? Oh man, what's going on, Charlie? Who here has a life? I do. Like I watched a new interview, Tom Richard Dawkins, and just started questioning things, and I was wondering what you would think about it. It's about finding truth. Send me the link. It sounds like an interesting video. Nah, Lily, send me the link. Do it. Jess, you read my mind. Don't be a troll. I will end you. Why do you think some Christians are afraid of meditation? This is a fantastic question. I think Christians are afraid of meditation because religion, I'm speaking for religious Christians, shove aside their actual problems, and they use religion, they use God as a sort of scapegoat, as a sort of all of my problems go here. I don't actually have to fix all of my problems, but I can shove all of my problems here and they'll be fixed. Now, I'm over exaggerating this, but this is actually the case in a lot of situations too. So, meditation is about coming in tune and in touch with yourself. And so, I've noticed for myself in meditation, fears have come up, weird thoughts have come up. And they're thoughts that I've always had, but I was never facing them because I was never actually resting in the moment of who I am and what's actually taking place. Because I'm always, like I said before, we're always either in the future or in the past. But when we come into the present moment, we have no other choice but to come face to face with the reality of where we're actually at in life. And this is why, people say there's so many negative side effects to meditation. Well, it's because you're shoving aside all of these things, all of these fears in life. And then when you meditate and come into the present moment, then they present themselves and you actually have to deal with it. And so if you're not dealing with it, then that can result in depression or a mental breakdown or panic attacks, which all of these, people say, well, there's so much bad coming from meditation because all of those have come out of meditation. But is meditation bad? No, meditation is actually like it's causing you to deal with your shit. It's causing you to actually like face your fears. And so, Christians thinking meditation is, afraid of meditation, that they're afraid of it or that it's evil or whatever. It's because I think that they're unwilling to face themselves. I think that they're unwilling to actually deal with what they have going on in this very present moment. And it irks me. It really does. It annoys me to no end that I'm like, something that I know has been so incredibly beneficial to me to actually getting rid of fear, panic, anxiety, and actually helping me get more in tune with myself and my breathing, and it actually stimulates the vagus nerve in your body, which decreases inflammation, and there's a whole bunch, gives you energy, and that energy can be transferred into healing your body, like with the vagus nerve. So like the negative side effects of meditation are just it's like you seeing the reality that you're not actually dealing with things that you need to deal with. And so that scares some people. That scares some Christians. But it's actually like, no, you need to come to terms with where you're actually at in life instead of running from it. Because I can tell you something like people are going to disagree with me on this. That's fine. I don't care. Whatever. But I do think that if God is real, there's a possibility that he could actually present these opportunities in your life that to you might not look like an opportunity at all. But it's actually an opportunity to learn a lesson in life that you need to learn, that you have yet to learn. And like I said before, it's those lessons that are gifts. It's those lessons in life that we're actually going to take with us when we die, if there is an afterlife. And so I think you not dealing with these things is and like shoving them off to God, like, God, you fix it. I don't think he would do that. I don't think God, if he's real, I don't think God would do that. I think God is saying, actually, no, you need to learn how to deal with this. You need to learn how to stand on your own 2 feet and not, I'm not like true relationship with God. And this goes back to the whole thing about relationship with God, where people say, oh, yeah, I have a relationship with God. I don't serve a religion. I have a relationship with God. I'm like, do you? Because you shove things off to God in your life like you're not having a relationship. Like, would you do that if you were in relationship with somebody? No. You would talk to them. You would work through problems so that the relationship between you two could work. And so some people are unwilling. Oh, man, connection is unstable. Okay. And so some people are unwilling to do that. And so that's why they're afraid of getting in touch with themselves and having to actually face those things. So that's my long, drawn out rant to why I think Christians are afraid of meditation. It's because they're afraid of themselves and they're afraid of having to deal with their own shit. Oh man, there's a lot of comments. Okay, here we go. When you answered my question, got me thinking about chronogenics. I think it's a scam. Do you think it can work? No one has been unfrozen. Also, even if it did work, would it be worth it in your opinion? I don't know what I think about that. I'm assuming chronogenics is freezing people, like the Walt Disney kind of thing. Um, yeah, I don't. I really can't give you my honest thoughts about it. I haven't looked a whole lot into it, but um, yeah. I mean, until I guess that's the thing. Until somebody's been unfrozen and it actually works, I can't really give my thoughts on it. Someone brought up simulation. For me, it wouldn't matter. Like if you found out you were in a simulation, would you act differently? Like killing? Yeah, I guess it wouldn't matter. Yeah, you're right. Love still love. Like if I make a robot simulation and I think it feels love, does it feel love? That's a good question. The movie 13th Floor really tackled these questions on simulation. I like it. 13th Floor, writing it down. I guess The Matrix does too, but it's crazy how everything happens in cycles: day and night cycles, moon cycles, seasons, rotating life, death, brainworks. I think we are the angels. I think angels are the people that beat the game logging in and progressing the story. Uh, the trick is to learn something no one else knows through direct experience with the divine. Religious Christians are scared of meditation because it makes you connect to your authentic self. It shows a darkness that is challenging. It's true, but free will is the question. Why is free will the question? Had someone tell me I was an angel. Yes, thought the meditation weaken integrator shadows, and that demands action and doing nothing about it to act and not just wait. This is true. It's crazy because even Jesus meditated. I hate the Christians that say everything is demonic. That's real talk. Accepting our flaws and our responsibility in the continuation of those is a beautiful experience. For God to solve problems that demand your own responsibility towards yourself. Yeah. I love when a question gets the entire chat involved. You really see how alike we all are. This is true. You are an angel, Jess, and so is Sloshy. Both y'all are angels. This is true. Uh, like if you were 60 and lived a full life, I don't think finding out it's all simulated would make it make it analyzes any less real because you still fell in love, had a heartbreak with loved ones dying. You still had a life regardless. See, I think when people talk about simulation, the simulation that I'm talking about when, is not like a simulation like we're all robots or something. I think a simulation where it's like it's almost like we're in a classroom. That's kind of the simulation that I've envisioned. I think that every Christian should question their type of relationship with God. And I love that because it makes people question everything, even why they are believing what they are. Yes. Dang, he jumped my question. Sad feels. What was your question, Eric? Did I jump your question? Where you at, Eric? Where's your question? Nate, I just remembered I was going to tell you I have deep talks with my best friends and recorded them. We talked about how there is no best of something. It's just an opinion. Would like to know your. Where's the question? Is that what you were talking about, Eric? Where's the question in that? No best of something. It's just an opinion. I think that was your question. LOL, yes. I think we're able to download consciousness into all before crypto. Yeah, just that I would like to know your thoughts on that there is no best of something. Um Well, I guess if you're talking subjectively, then there is a best of something. But if you're talking about objectively, then no, there wouldn't be a best of something because it's all subjective to the individual's experience of whatever that thing would be. I mean, people have different personalities, people have different likes. Like, I guess there's no like best of anything, really. It's all objectively, that is, but subjectively to the individual. Yeah, sure, there can be a best of something. Um, Now, will that change over time? Yeah, I think it'll change over time. Well, possibly change over time. Um, but I think like moments don't change. And I think you can have the best of multiple things. Um, like there's moments in my life where it was like that was the best moment, but there was other best moments too. So it depends on how you define best, really. If the Truman Show was real and we were able to observe someone's entire life, what do you think we would find out about the human uh, and us as a whole species? Oh man, I love it. That's deep. Um, I think that we would see. Um, I honestly think, and I know that this is kind of a contradictory statement, a paradox, if you will. Um, we would see the bad. Like, okay, so if it was a Truman Show type thing where there was only one dude that was like unaware of what was going on, um, I think that what we would see, well, hmm, this is the first thing that came to mind, so I'm just going to go with it. We would see the bad. We would see how, all right, let me say this. If there was a simulation going on, none of the participants knew that it was a simulation, but we were all watching one person grow up, like a Truman Show kind of thing. I think that we would see how um, bad we can be as human beings based on ways that we've been hurt and how that affects someone growing up and how that person who is growing up that we are watching and experiencing, we see how good they truly were as a child, and then based off of hurts and pains of other people's hurts and pain, like hurt people, right? So based off of other hurts and pains, how that's affected this person to become like to treat others that way. And so I think that we would like, oh man, yeah, we humans are really screwed up because we do that to really good people. But then we would see, wait, that's how everybody started out to be. Like we were all good. We were all innocent. We were all like loving and kind. And then we got hurt. But that's only because we got hurt by other people's hurt because they blamed us for things that we never did. But they just took it out on us or took it out on that person. And then that person gained offense, gained bitterness, unforgiveness, and then acted in the way that they acted. And so I think that we would see extremes, the extremes of a human being, and we would realize, wow, like we're not great people, but at the same time, we're really like if we would just embrace being who we were always meant to be, is then we would be good people. So yeah. Epstein didn't kill himself. Oh my God. Man, so much great high level, intelligent conversation today. Thanks, man. Much better than all the other content on this platform, like pranks, baby. Dude, for real. Dude, honestly, man, these comments mean the world to me because it makes me want to keep doing this. I'm not going to lie to y'all. Like, it's some days it's rough. Like I'm like, man, like I was hoping to be like full time into this. Yo, I make cents per month doing this. But that's not totally why I do it. I mean, I love doing this, and so I'd love to be able to make a living doing it. But this is the reason I do it, for this community and to keep, you know, having these conversations, no matter what you believe, because these conversations are so worth it. Yeah, yeah. Really appreciate that, Simba. Absolutely. God gave free will, right? If that's true, then choosing not to kneel is part of that. Very biased because his music reaches emotions, so I base it on lyrical content. Deleting it? Deleting what? Do squirrels lay eggs? That's fantastic. that is that's the best comment of the night. That's awesome. This channel is pretty lit, honestly. God, you guys are the best. Seriously, man, you have no idea what that means to me. I'll listen to this trash, and then my trash will actually sound hard. What? Then become angels or lowercase g gods of our own land. What is that in reference to? Ah, why do I have to be a poor hippie? I almost typed hippo. That's awesome. Jess, y'all are making me laugh too hard. I'm gonna wake this baby up. Need to chill. Oh man. All right, guys. Coming up on almost coming up on 3 hours, so I'm gonna wrap this up pretty soon. I also gotta go to the grocery store with my dad. So taking a grocery trip store trip with my dad. So if you got any questions for my dad, I'll ask him while I'm at the grocery store. Yeah, man. He's talking about my instrumental, Nate. Oh man, I gotta listen to this now. It seemed like a great conversation today, but I missed most of it. It's been great last 30 minutes or so. Man, honestly, th- it's been great. Like the last two times I've made the title spirituality versus religion, like we've stayed on topic like the entire time. It's been great. Dude, who remembers Hungry Hungry Hippos? I don't remember that. Yeah, we humans are complex. So you are saying that in relation to creation, then before sin, that we were expected to not be hurt. W- when we're when you were talking about the simulation, um, kind of. But I'm just. I mean, I'm talking about when we're born. Just when we're born, as who we are. Doesn't necessarily have to be at a you know the creation. I'm just talking about when we're born. Best content on YouTube. That's what's up, man. Spread the word, laser. I don't know. Grow to the grocery store. Yeah, man. How you get stuck on prison channels? Snaps fingers. Yeah. Make sure you buy some chips and ranch and then send them to me. Chips, yes. Ranch, I can't have. Dairy blows. What came first, the chicken or the egg? Just wanted to mess with you with another paradox. Oh man. Oh. The funny part about you asking that is even though I know you're joking, when I read that comment, I immediately go into the deeper parts of my brain to actually think about what came first, the chicken or the egg. My brain is a wild entity. If Eric's beat is terrible, it would boost my confidence, is what I meant. Yo, you guys want to hear this beat I made the other day? I made it for a client of mine who is a rapper. And so I'll end with this. Hopefully you guys can hear this. So it's basically just a loop, and there's piano later on in the song. But yeah, I'm really stoked about that one. He's been holding on to it for a while, and I just made that instrumental for him. So I'll let you guys know when the song is out. But really stoked about that, my production of it. Ask your dad if the forbidden fruit was actually an apple or if it was Lucifer's. Lucifer's banana. That's what it was. You have been watching Lucifer, haven't you? I love it when you can hear the finger slide on the frets. That's good. Thanks. Appreciate it. I can solve the chicken or eggs paradox. Dope. No problem. No problem. Love sharing. All right, guys. Well, this wraps up live stream. Great live stream, people. Just to let you know, Nate, you skipped my question for Dad. What was your question? The grandfather question? My grandfather always said, "What's the black speck on chicken shit?" What? Oh, I have a question for your dad. Not the chicken shit question. Has any of your topics or videos inspired him to research or learn? And if so, how does he find his way back to his faith when he's presented with conflicting info? Great question. I will ask it and I'll let you know. Yes. DJ, drop that track. Oh, I will. I'll let you guys know when it. Let's hear your answer. That's a pretty good laid back beat. I've been trying to make something more aggressive. Well, he wanted a laid back beat, so that's what I came up with. That's what I made. All right. What's the answer to your chicken egg paradox question? And then the stream will end. It's all on you, Caleb. Sloshy whale. This better be good. Nate, if you made a pastors react to a Christian song I made, it would be the first subscriber edition. First subscriber edition? Were you the first subscriber to that channel? I'm going to send my friend to you. He's a rapper, and I think he would love to work with you. I think it's mostly just a free back and forth he does with people, though. A free back and forth. Well, I mean, anyway, I'd love to make music for him. I like making beats. So sure, send him my way. Have him check out my website, nationshavenrs.com. That's for my studio, that is. Like, no first reaction to a subscriber song. Oh, I see what you're saying. Gotcha. Nate, you were saying something serious. Was I saying something serious? I don't know. All right, Sloshy, you're taking too long. I'm going to wrap it up. All right, guys. fantastic live session. Um, like I said, um, about something you were planning to do. Man, I keep looking in the comments and then, yeah, I don't know what I was. Oh, yes, saying something serious. This is probably what I was saying when I was wrapping up the stream. Is that I mentioned it earlier in the stream, but um, I'm upping my Patreon rewards. I'll make a video announcing it probably this next week. Got a Discord channel for like the community, so you can have community chat all the time. Gonna have another live exclusive chat where people can like call in and I can talk to you and then have a conversation with you over live. And also a book club. So there's going to be a book club group and with video chat on Zoom. So we can all FaceTime uh, and do a book club and read some cool books together. So those are all coming up, and my podcast is releasing next week, the Philosophical Misfit podcast. So be sure to check that out next week. And yes, I will be. Yeah, I'll be announcing all that next week. But you guys are amazing. Thanks for the fantastic live. And yeah, the egg came first and didn't need to be warmed by the chicken at the time. What? All right. Anyway, yeah. So I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out. Just end it like that.